Start with a sigh, that's a good sign. Let's get a drink. Alright. Almost there. Probably have about 5 minutes of gameplay or something before we have to jump in. But we're going to finish Amnesia Rebirth. It'll probably just be not very much at all left to go. But nonetheless, we're going to do it anyway. We're going to finish it in this kind of stream, and I'll be streaming for about an hour and a half today. That'll be nice succinct one. If I finish this early, I'll grab something random to play again as usual. But yeah, without further ado, let's get this finished. Tezzy, Trian, and cursed to become a monster, managed to reach her expedition's doctor, where he helped to give birth to a beautiful daughter. But now the child is born, the doctor has stolen her away. He too is becoming a monster and hopes to make a bargain with the spirit who cursed them. Tezzy must get her baby back. And so far, that's about the one thing that's emotionally resonated in about the last 3-4 hours of gameplay is this dick stealing the baby that we've been carrying the whole game. So I'm keen to get Amari back and see how that goes. But here we are. I think what we were trying to do, we've brought the elevator back down. So we need to go there. And the one thing that we noticed before was that Tezzy is now transforming into a monster, and I'm not actually sure whether that's just because she's had that water, which seems to be bad evil water, or whether it's actually tied to the number of times that I've died. I think I've only died sort of 3 or 4 times, but apparently that was enough. I'm sort of unsure. Here's the question. Yeah, where am I off to now? Don't want to waste my my match there. We'll see. It might just be a case of me figuring out how to get back up. Here's something. Did I look at this last time?
Tyna.
No.
Closer than kin. Take these vials. They contain my formula. There are 4 major vitae flows into her tower. Find the maintenance ports. 1 vial should suffice for each. Seeding the flesh into a flow should choke it, cut off her supply, and wreak havoc at the factory outlets themselves. But be wary. The red flesh is volatile, and unless all the flows are stopped, the constant cycle of pain and fear will continue, and our penance will not end.
Gotcha, alright.
I know that if you succeed, the tower will fall, and we will not meet again in this world. But perhaps, if the true ancestors deem that we have atoned for this great sin, we may yet meet again, in another place. All my hopes go with you. In all our names eternal.
Okay, is that something, do you think?
So,
Thinking we can...
there might be a way to end all of this. But it doesn't sound like any of us would survive.
Oh. It's not sounding too bad, honestly, considering this is a society that's somehow still running on the back of like endless torture farms just to keep one lady alive, who has really done nothing but encourage us to use the torture farm. So I'm not entirely sure whether her survival is beneficial. About the only person I'm concerned about at this stage is literally the newborn baby. I feel like kind of a jerk move, just to kill the baby as well. But for being utilitarian and brutally calculating the value of our ethics, if we were to somehow numerologically calculate that, I don't know. Not that I know where to actually inject this stuff. Um, that's kind of unclear. Or whether is it meant to be done down there? Was there something I missed before? Didn't look like obvious injection points before, but I'd be wrong about that. Do you think? Well, I can't tell if Black Hole Face is still wandering around, actually. He was this... That's another thing about this game I'm sort of feeling a bit confused about. It's just there's just sort of two monsters, the ghouls and Black Hole Face. And yeah, I don't know, neither of them are exactly like terrifying, you know? But then again, as we discussed last time, it's actually all about how you choose to utilize them, rather than the actual, like, what the monster actually looks like. Oh, the spooky jam. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Frankaloons. How could I forget that? And nice to see you, Futurecityscape. This isn't going to be a long stream, so just sort of an hour and a half long kind of thing. Just because that's all the time I have for today. But still be nice to finish this. I'm just poking around to see if I can inject the... What is happening? Inject the fluid down here, or whether that's something that's sort of done later on. Can't see anywhere to inject it, so maybe the implication is that we have to do it somewhere else. So we'll go up the elevator. We'll see what happens. We'll get our ending, and then I'll have a bit of a reflect on what exactly it is I've just played and what we've all collectively experienced. Hopefully the jam doesn't come to cut the story short too soon. So it took me a while to get this elevator working, so who knows what could have happened this time. By this time. Final boss equals mega spooky jam.
Aid your companions, but you must
Get your ointment out, yeah.
child is born.
One life against the rest of us.
We could save Celine.
Tazzy, it has to be your choice. It's your life.
I can't, Hank. I can't. I lost Alice. I will not give up this child.
Oh, the one thing actually that should have been made clear is that this game is set after the Dark Descent. That was something I hadn't quite fixed in my mind, but it's sort of about 100 years later. I'd forgotten what year exactly the Dark Descent was set, but that was 100 years ago, roughly. Okay, this is the Empress's throne room, I assume. And we're gonna finally, hopefully, get some actual answers as to why anything has happened. People still haven't read Lovecraft and learned not to tamper with ancient Egyptian artifacts. Yeah. Did no one learn anything from that? From Tutankhamun's tomb? Again, I'd have to check some of the dates in that. Okay, this is legitimately quite cool. I love giant statues and these kinds of settings. That's awesome.
Paris. We could get home. If I can find some more vitae.
Remember the veto stuff that you have to torture people to get. You're not concerned about that. Okay, whatever. I'm not entirely sure what moral page she's on currently. What she's thinking. I mean, I guess it's up. I guess it's up to me. But, I don't know, it's weird. Her moral page not applicable.
Now save us! Change us! Lift this curse! If that's what it is, she had no right to take the decision!
The Dark Descent is actually scary, and the jam is even scary there because of the way that the game uses it.
I see you, you piece of filth!
She will not answer!
What have you done with her?
You must listen. I'm trying to save.
What are you?
Dark Descent's amazing. I'm glad that at least this game is inspiring people to go back to that one because legitimately frightening.
Fear, Tazi Trianon. I have no wish to hurt you or your child.
Then let us go.
Sure.
With the portal, I can take her home.
She will die. You do not remember?
I remember.
Child will be born with a sickness. It will waste her to nothing. Here with me, she can live. Here, there is hope.
No. I thought I cured her.
Yeah.
In that horrible place. You showed me.
A temporary respite. As with her sister, the illness is too deeply rooted. I am sorry. Vitae can halt this decay for a time, but is no cure. She will always need it. Follow. I will take you to her.
So yeah, you can adopt my child and raise her in this torture society that you seem to have rigged up just to emotionally manipulate Tazzy. Okay. What if I don't want to follow you?
Tazzy, follow me.
Hang on, just having a look around. Is it bad that I still don't know what the heck is actually going on in this game? No, it's unlike the Dark Descent. It feels like there's sort of no context. There's no the story is sort of really weirdly complex in ways that it didn't need to be. I will admit that's a pretty cool visual of the Empress. But to summarize what I understand, the Empress runs this giant torture society, and she tortures the people of her society just to keep her alive. I'm not sure what this stuff is meant to be. This is one of the first bits of the alien world I'm really appreciating the visuals in because it's got really nice organic elements. Tazzy and all of her crew were duped, I think, into drinking the water. And for whatever reason, the water from that fountain heals you, but also turns you into the monster. That's what I'm guessing. I don't think the game's sort of explicitly stated that, but that's what I'm guessing has happened. Tazzy said, "No, you can't have my baby." Still don't know why she wants the baby. I doubt it's out of the kindness of her own heart. And I think that's sort of where we stand. Everyone's dead because Tazzy didn't want to give up her child. And now we're and Tazzy's also becoming a monster because she's killed a couple people. All I've learned is that Tazzy is the worst mother ever. If she just waited in Paris.
I saw the child within you. Only a germ, and growing. I could not let her die.
Do we know how she got back on the crash plane? I assume when she rejected the Empress's bargain, maybe the Empress transported her back there, or transported everyone back there.
Do not leave it too late.
So they've just crashed maybe, and the Empress grabs everyone, offers them this bargain. Tazzy says no, transports everyone back to the desert, and gave her amnesia. Yeah. That's the name of the game. So I could inject... Right, I could start injecting the red Vitae in here if I wanted to kill the Empress. And probably ourselves, but...
You do not have much time.
I don't understand why I'd help the Empress, to be honest. Like, she's killed all my friends. She's gonna take my baby away from me. And she runs it.
To me, so she could be saved.
Yeah, but what is she to you? Can you explain that? That's what I really want to know.
I told you that Vitae would give her life, but that she must stay here.
Uh-huh.
You did not listen. You would not give her up. You would have died in the desert.
Sure, yep. I'm with you so far.
No choice, but to make you into something I could control.
You had no choice, huh?
I could be the mother I was meant to be. Look at yourself, Tazzy. You have become a harvester. Soon your mind will be nothing but hunger. You can do no more for her.
What?
But I can. You must let me be her mother.
You've set up a terrible situation for me. You know that, right? Did I get a chance to find out what my best time was for deep sleep? I think I was sitting at the 120, 124, 125, something like that.
I'm here, my heart. I've got you. Mama's here.
Comfort her. Feed her. Say goodbye. You do not have
She drops, baby.
When you are done, leave her and come to me. I will ease your oblivion.
Hold down X to soothe your baby.
It's all right. Oh, God.
Press X to comfort baby. For whatever reason,
How did we get to this?
I see. Yeah, I do see what the Rock Paper Shotgun article meant now about hold down X to perform complex emotional action.
Will it be Alice all over again? But to leave you here with her and all of those things that they have to do to keep her alive. What are we to do? Hush now. Lullaby. Close your eyes, for sleep is coming. Hush now. Mama's here, so don't you cry. I know.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. Like it, nothing's landing the way that's supposed to. I want to claim that, yeah, Dark Descent was like some sort of huge emotional experience, but at least it had context and it made sense and it was actually scary. Breastfeeding ending unlocked. So...
Is this best for you, Amari? To be here?
I can't see the baby in my
The
inventory.
promise of life.
So I could... Right. So there are three choices. I either blow the whole place up with the red Vitae stuff and overthrow this horrible fucking society. And this Empress who has literally manipulated you at every turn.
And you and I step out there and see what comes to us.
Or, yeah, like, running back to Paris does not feel like an option, to be honest. Considering that, you know, my arms are literally, like, getting all these black veins, etc. Doesn't make much sense to me to just leave the baby here either.
Please, Tazzy. How can you protect her out in the world? The disease will ravage her as it did your other child.
Mm-hmm.
You have given me
Ah, it's wiggling.
I shall save her.
My favorite gameplay mechanic.
Do not run! I hear her, Tazzy.
It's okay, my love.
We're having a good time.
The signs were there from her conception. Her body will fail her. It is your legacy.
Ah, now she's got the black hole face powers.
Do not struggle, Tazzy.
We're doing this, right? Might as well. It's injector time. Like this. Whoever the Empress is, she's not really giving me reason to support her eternal rule. And if what she said is true regarding the baby dying anyway, then the least that we can do is go out in a blaze of glory. Oops. What you gonna do about that?
You will kill us all!
It's working. We can end this. But I don't think we'll survive it, little one.
All this tutorializing about pressing X is finally paying off. I can comfort the baby.
You are not thinking clearly. It can't end this way.
Why not? Seems a reasonable ending for this game. Just blow everything up. Turn some wheels. Classic Amnesia Rebirth gameplay. It can end this way, the Steam guide said so. Yeah, there's nothing contradicting that in the Steam guide, exactly. These are perfectly normal sounds. Come on, jam. We want the jam ending. That's what I'm after.
Ending me, you end this world. You and your child will fail.
Yeah, but
You're losing yourself.
your world kind of sucks.
Oh, little one. I'm sorry.
You only hasten your end.
Jam and Tezzy Alliance unlocked, exactly. Wasn't it nice of her to set up these blockades where she can't black hole warp you when you're going into one of these chambers that are essential to her continued living? Very convenient. Very nice of her.
This is it, Amari. If we do this, this is the end.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I put that in the title of my stream, so yeah, it better be the end. Because otherwise I'll be lying to the loyal listeners out there. Yeah, the baby is taking it pretty well, all things considered. I imagine. More tax cuts like the ones to the public transport system that killed all those people in the tram car. But why? I don't understand your stake. I don't get it.
I'm so sorry.
Bureaucracy, yep, the true enemy. I'll drink to that. Thank you. I hadn't noticed that before. The giant mask on the Empress's tower. I think I actually quite like some of the iconography of the world here that they presented. I just there wasn't enough context. There wasn't enough reason to care or to ground yourself in this society in any meaningful way. I don't think. At least we put all these people out of their suffering. From the moment you first spread jam on toast, your fate was sealed. Good night, future. Thanks for stopping by and seeing the ending. Have a good one. Thanks. Yay! Achievement unlocked. Tassie achievement unlocked. Iconoclast. The end. Quote unquote. Yay! Here's a game off my backlog. I think it's a strange thing, isn't it? I mean, we've been discussing the weird decisions it's made throughout the stream, or throughout the streams. But I think I found, what was so alienating about it is that it was taking you between those two places and also not really doing anything with those two places. Like that compass thing that comes up like once in gameplay. There was no merging of the two worlds like the game sort of implied there would be. The Empress, I still don't get what her deal is. Was that meant to be a cliche kind of I can't have a child, so my life has been meaningless. That's why I'm trying to stay alive, and that's why I'm going to steal your child. I don't. The story doesn't come together in a cohesive whole, and neither do the environments. I think was a huge part of the problem. Thanks, Nick Bolton, for your service as torture victim. I think one of my favorite parts of this game was definitely the voice acting, and in spite of how bad they were at fusing the two separate environments together, the desert where you actually had some context and the alien world where you had basically none. The look of both worlds was really polished. It all looked really nice. I don't think you can dispute that, but I don't think there was no reason to ground yourself in a particular one of those worlds when you were either flitting between them too quickly, like the at least in Algeria you sort of had an earthly grounding. But the game was, I don't know if anyone else felt this way, but the game was cycling me again and again into the alien world really fast and a lot of the time. And I felt like the alien world, we should have built up towards that, but instead it was something that you become intimately familiar with, almost more than the real world. And I find that bizarre, because we had this discussion in the first stream, I think, Frankaloons, where we were talking about horror game settings and context. And I think you brought up the example of most horror games are set in this urban environment because they give the player a sense of intense connection and understanding, so that not a lot of work has to be done to set up an environment. You're approaching it with sort of a really implicit understanding of this is sort of suburban life, etc., etc. Whereas in this one, obviously, like you're sitting it in an Algerian desert, which far less people would sort of have an experience on, whereas a much larger proportion of people would at least recognize the kind of sort of middle class suburban household. But I found that actually the desert, at least, you could still find some sense of context, because we have a clearly delineated sort of time and place, and we can piece together a story really about what happened to these people, and this place had a definite history. Whereas in the alien world, that either didn't come through or it came through sort of far too late. It's one of those really hard balancing acts, right? a lot of mysteries will be written as vaguely as possible, because what the author thinks, this is something I probably still do, to be honest, in my own writings, and something I try and improve on in creative pursuits, is that vagueness does not equal a mystery. Is that actually the more specific you get, um, the more you can actually allow that mystery to build. Whereas it felt like in Amnesia Rebirth, we sort of have this really weird, I don't know, really weird vagueness and distance from what's actually going on. I, yeah, I don't regret playing this game, because there were bits of it, like, I think the ideas were really strong. I think this is the kind of game where you can point to it and say that ideas aren't, or can't just be that everything. That ideas can't stand on their own. You actually need to rely on execution. Um, a vagrant would be important, but specific and needless minor details. Yeah, you're right about that. We were getting a lot of personal anecdotes, which I know a lot of horror games actually do rely on. This personal anecdote kind of stuff. But in this instance, there was sort of too much of that from the alien perspective, right? None of it really impacted on how I was approaching the alien world. Simply because, I mean, I guess it was built up as, this sort of endless dystopian society, and that was probably the concept I liked the most actually about Rebirth, was the fact that the Empress was like this, almost like this sort of pain goddess, pain vampire or something, and was actually leeching other people's life by inflicting sort of endless cycles of pain on her own society just to keep herself alive. I think she should have been like an awesome antagonist, right? Like, that sounds like a setup for an amazing, harrowing antagonist, sort of a harrowing final encounter. But there's nothing in that. I had to wiggle my mouse and like walk behind some tentacle tree kind of things, and that was sort of it. And I get that she was sort of meant to be this possessive, manipulative character, but it's sort of she Empress felt both at once way too vague and also too much like a person. I thought, she was acting in a really human way, which I guess, whether, like, I'm still not entirely sure whether the the aliens were once people. Maybe that was something that I missed or forgot, but she did feel, strangely human, especially considering she was a giant, like, flower, organic flower being, flesh flower, in the ceiling of her palace, um, who could like transcend time and space or whatever. Uh, she really did. I guess it's a really hard ground to walk, as you say, with the awkward middle ground stuff. But because you want your antagonist to be understandable on some level, so the player isn't left scratching their head, but at the same time, she wasn't really understandable. But she also, I felt, if she just dug a little deeper, you would have got sort of really simple human emotions, and maybe that was a story that sort of every person has those same core emotions, whether you're from a sort of a ravaged alien world where you torture people to death, or whether you're from the human world and you just torture one person, for instance. If they want to lean into her humanity, they should have explored her human motivations, but she also talks too much to be some unknowable alien entity. Yeah, no, I agree. There really was a middle ground to be found there, and I don't think they struck that. Um, and I think the major thing, the major thing for me was sort of the actual lack of horror within the game. There was literally no emergent encounter where I felt in any danger or afraid. I did some research before the stream. I sort of went online and I wanted to see like whether people shared the same opinion. And obviously, I play a lot more horror than the average person, so it's perfectly understandable why someone would find this confronting. But I kept seeing that. You remember that maze with Leon? I keep seeing that maze being brought up. Everyone's like, the maze. The maze is the scariest bit, or the bit with all the ghouls like having a sleep or whatever. And I found neither of those to be remotely effective. I don't know, the maze. It didn't feel like a maze. Maybe maybe other people, maybe I just got lucky and went the right way. But Leon was not a threatening antagonist. The the thing to take away from it, I think really is how much do you show and expose your villains or your antagonists, your monsters in horror games. And I think what Amnesia did is it actually started in that segment where you first meet Leon. It actually starts building up nicely because at least you can sort of hear something going on. And by this point, your expectation, I was definitely like, oh, finally, we're going to get an enemy encounter. But instead of him sort of carefully stalking you through the maze, all that he does is he sort of jumps out and he grabs you and then he throws you away. You get to see his face in a non-threatening environment, if that makes sense. Like that he's not going to kill or hurt you because it's a cutscene and you're locked into this pre-scripted confrontation with him. Whereas if, for instance, I'd got to see him sort of just wandering around by himself, i.e., the nun from Nun Massacre is probably the example I keep coming back to because it's just so good at that. Is that emergent ludic horror is far more effective because we have in this one too many cues, right? Too many cues that we don't really know, like, or that we do know rather. Sorry, we do know exactly what's going to happen, what's a safe space, and what's not. It's a big problem, and I can see why they did what they did and why they made the game like that. But it felt like it was pulling way too many of its punches. I think everyone felt the same way after that torture scene, for instance, right? That the game should have been really leaning on me to make me feel like crap, and to a certain extent, yeah, like the game achieves that because I did have to deliberately set up the torture machine. And I really did. I liked that. I thought that was an effective moment where you were actually deliberately engaging with this horrible interface, and you were doing it in a way that sort of inferred that you were like solving a puzzle. You were sort of working out how this alien technology works and using it to a harmful end. And I thought that was almost one of the game's most effective moments. But then the screen slides down, and you're sort of divorced from what you've actually done. Still, I think on reflection, it was more effective than I gave it credit for at the time, personally. But it still lacked that really visceral, like if the shutters had come up again and there was at least if he was still hanging there or something, or there was something sort of more visceral about it, then maybe it sort of would have been a really really effective horror moment. But it fell a bit flat. Just because of that pulling of the punch, that's sort of stopping just before it collides, just before it makes its maximum impact. They soften the blow or don't bother with it at all. Yeah, it's a very funny game because it sort of it didn't end where at all, sort of where it started. The beginning was very very strange in terms of how scripted it was. How many we got, like cutscenes every 5 steps. We got sort of a lot of well voiced dialogue, but it was so heavily scripted, and the game threatens to escape that. I think in the fortress, and with like maybe technically with the ghoul encounter, um, but it's sort of again it's pulling its punches. It's relying too much on the scripted stuff, which in the end, like it's a more valuable tool for a more linear piece of media, say a film. Whereas in this one, when something scripted is happening, you can actually disengage with it mentally. You can create some distance. It's a really interesting psychological trick because in a film, say, we'd probably still be scared by sort of frightening confrontations or jump scares or whatnot. But the moment control is taken away from you in a game, ironically, you can relax because you know that whatever's going to happen to you, you don't have a hand in, and your immersion has sort of just been shattered because the developers have sort of put their hand back on the wheel and said, let me take it for a minute. You look tired. I don't want to scare you, sort of thing. Sorry, UVS. It seems like a lot of horror either goes way too heavy on gore or refuses to show anything that can be considered too violent. There's rarely a good middle ground. Yeah, I agree with that as well. Again, like Outlast 2 is sort of the prime example that I use. Thanks, ODX Grey Toad, for all the hydrates. Yeah, the Outlast is the is sort of the prime example. I needed a drink. Let's see. Yeah, like Outlast 2 is sort of the example that I like to use because it's so heavy on gore and so heavy-handed that it actually ceases to become frightening because what you're seeing is actually part of the normal landscape of the game, and you come to accept that. Whereas if Amnesia had shown that scene, the torture scene, for instance, it would have stood out in a game that had been up until that point relatively uh, I guess you could say sanitized. There were still a lot of corpses, but there's sort of nothing that had happened in the moment that was too nasty. Um, really, there was that monster beating that guy up, I guess. But again, like sort of nothing super harrowing about that. But yeah, and then yeah, a lot of horror gets really shy about showing it, and sometimes that can be done to great effect. The big example I think of is actually Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the first one by Tobe Hooper, because that one is actually surprisingly light on gore, but it's shot in such a way that it still feels like a hugely gory film because the viewer is allowed to sort of infer what's going on simply by virtue of really excellent sound design, I think, and cutting away at the right moment, which doesn't work quite so well in a game. Even if you can sort of hear the guy's screams and that kind of thing, it's not that the big difference, right? Is that you can sort of is that I'm basically the director of the game in terms of where I look and what I see. Um, so maybe if the game had given me an option to look at him or not look at him, I think that would have been really effective. Instead, the game says no, you can't look at him, and I think that's where immersion gets broken, right? It's the same thing, same sort of argument I come up with, or I come up against a lot when people sort of say that they prefer horror that doesn't allow for fighting back. And I find actually that removes, to a certain degree, some of the stress. I mean, Nun Massacre is still like fucking terrifying, but in the vast majority of instances, I found that having the option to fight back makes it feel more important and more terrifying when that option is taken away from you. Um, Very rarely is sort of being completely defenseless in a game satisfying because it's actually removing an option from you. Uh, and so, like with that example of am I allowed to confront the sort of the horrors of what I've actually just done to this guy or not? The game is sort of saying no. You have two options: you can run and you can hide. Sort of nothing else to say about that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. Does anyone feel the same way about that kind of play? Um, that's really my big takeaway from this. I think is just a reinforcement of allowing the player to confront elements of the game that they might find otherwise unsavory. I don't Games shouldn't shy away from that. Um, Games should allow me to engage with the horrific scenes it's presenting rather than taking control away from me. That's the appeal of the horror game to me as well. Horror media that actually managed to scare me did so by inducing a sense of panic, which is difficult to accomplish in an effective way. Yeah. Especially what that is actually is sort of it's showing a mastery of horror by going so far as to make the player think they have a lack of control, because that's what panic is, right? That's sort of panic taken to its extreme, control taken to its extreme. Um, it's when the piece of media flips the script on you basically and says, "No, I'm in charge. No, I'm in control," but in a more subtle way than literally Leon grabbing you and being like, "Grr, puss puss," sort of thing. Um, can't believe there was a line of dialogue. I still can't. Um, but sort of more of like a subtle erosion of a sense of control. Like we talked about in one of these streams, right? We talked about how claiming spaces was really important. Um, and what I would have liked to see actually is maybe the entire game could have been set in the fort, and the idea of slowly eroding safe spaces. Um, yeah, Gurr Puss Puss definitely. Yeah, the new High Clara. Yeah. But I would have liked to have seen like the monsters actually invading your spaces and slowly eroding them, so as you start feeling a sense of like a lack of control, even though you do still technically you have full control. I think the bunker. I don't know if anyone's looked up Amnesia the Bunker, which is what they're making next right now, but it looks to be on a more promising track, sort of emergent, more randomly generated. You're trying to defend this World War One era bunker against some sort of entity, but that entity looks to be sort of more randomized, like Nun Massacre. So I'm really hoping it leans into the emergent stuff, and if it does, and if it reviews well, I would be keen to play it on stream, just so we can contrast the two modes from the same developer, potentially, provided it also doesn't rely on scripted moments. Yeah, every monster encounter was a very obvious scripted moment, as Frankaloons says, which means that it was equally obvious when there was absolutely nothing to be afraid of. Yeah, I was just like I don't recall a single moment where I felt anywhere remotely panicked. It's like especially after the revelation that if a monster catches you, he just sort of lets you go. Like what was that all about? That was bizarre, right? That wasn't just me. That was absolutely bizarre. Um, I have I have literally zero idea what they were thinking with that. That diffuses. I know because sometimes people sort of are like, "Oh, horror monsters shouldn't kill you because like that sort of sucks you out the game." Um, and sort of shows you the worst that it can get, kind of thing, too early, and then when you go back in, it's sort of less frightening. And to an extent, yes, that's true. But it's even worse if the monster poses no legitimate threat at all, and in fact, when he gets you, he just sort of despawns or like lets you past. I found that intensely disappointing when that first happened. I didn't get that at all. I don't. Does it? Can anyone, before I hop on to the next game for sort of half an hour or so? Can anyone help me with that one? Can anyone pose a good theory? Because that was one thing I was thinking about yesterday, and I could not for the life of me understand why that decision was made, because it completely defanged the monsters even further. Um, I literally don't get it, and it would be nice if someone if someone did. Uh, that's sort of one lingering question that I will have from the design of this game. No clue. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, especially the prolonged like. I hated the flashing. That's the other thing I hated. I hated the flashing images. Like, that's like the lamest scary cliche, Um, it did nothing. It did nothing for me but annoy me. Um, there was nothing. There was no substance to them. They weren't showing me anything interesting. It was just like, boom, look at that. Look at that frightening Empress face or something. I don't know. God, it didn't make any sense. But thanks everyone for watching Amnesia Rebirth and helping me see it through to the end. It's nice to be able to tick a game off of my extensive backlog, especially on stream. 100% a horror movie trailer moment. Yeah, all I needed was a little girl screaming. Exactly. Yeah, it was. it was so cliched. It's like, yeah, all those sort of edgy trailers that you see, and it's sort of flat glimpses of like horrifying things that the director or whoever the advertisers are like, damn, yeah, this'll reel them in. How frightening is this? Does it keep me awake at night, sort of thing? I just there shaking my head, like, is this the best? Cheap jumps? Is that the best you can come up with? I don't know. They were laying it on too thick, I think, is the problem. But if everyone, if I'm gonna chuck an ad on for a minute, so if everyone wants to stand up, have a stretch before sort of the last half an hour of stream, grab a drink, that kind of thing. Hydrate yourself. So I now could hit the hydrate button, can I? There we go. Hydrate, everyone. I'll see you in a minute. Reminded me of one of the endings to Little Hope, which was comically horror movie trailer esque. I can remember what the ending was called. I've played through Little Hope and I got the best ending first, I think. So unless it was that one, yeah, I wouldn't know how else it ends. But it was a very, it's one of those. It was one of those. It was a good twist, but it completely undermines the entire purpose of what I thought was the entire purpose of that series, which was replayability. No replayability after that shocking twist ending. I thought it was very silly. I'm actually, wondering what to play, what I can play for sort of half an hour. Well, we can make a go at. I'm wondering if I don't see the point in starting anything super long that I might want to see through to the end. Look, what I will do, right? I just grabbed this one the other day, so we can have a wee look at this one, and I can see if people are interested. I have no idea what it's going to be like, if it'll be any good, sort of thing. But we'll have a look at this one, I think. Cool. Hopefully, we see that. Yes, cool. So this is one I picked up like a week or two ago. It's called Lamentum. It's sort of an isometric point and click isometric survival horror kind of experience. Very obviously based on Silent Hill indie dev, maybe just the one dev. I might be wrong about that, but we're gonna sort of see. Just have a wee look. As far as I know, all the bad endings were bad ending, twist ending cliches. Not sure if that was supposed to be a meta choice or whatever, but they're all very nonsensical. That sounds about right, honestly. Most of those dark picture games, sadly, as much as I enjoy how cheesy they are, they do feel pretty nonsensical, pretty disjointed. a lot of the time. So we'll give this. I'll just see if there's subtitles. Whether we have to worry about that. Nope. Awesome. So yeah, we'll have a half-hour play of Lamentum. If I think it's worth continuing to play through on stream, I might pick that up and keep playing it. But we'll just see. Limited save. Saves are limited by the amount of ink in your inventory. You have infinite ink, and you can save unlimited times. I used to be a fan of. I think I said this the other day. I used to be a fan of this a lot. Now I no longer am because I no longer am on a first playthrough. On subsequent playthroughs, I think it's a really welcome challenge, but on first playthroughs, it feels unnecessarily restrictive. What difficulties do we have? Normal, easy, hard. We'll just go with this for now. Okay, give it a go. See what it's like. Has anyone heard of this one, by the way? It's I think it's meant to be quite small, and again, I don't know how good it's going to be. Got no idea. Could be complete rubbish, but he looks like Guybrush Threepwood, don't you think? He's got a Threepwood look going on from Monkey Island. It's getting dark. I think I'll take a walk while I wait for her. It's a coin. Take the coin. Absolutely. It's my lucky day. Good afternoon, sir. Afternoon. Excuse me, young man. I was absorbed in my book and didn't see you come into the garden. I didn't see you. Okay, whatever. A good book makes it easy to lose track of time. Okay, so we might be suffering from a couple of translation problems, so I won't go too hard on that. What are you reading, if you don't mind my asking? Mask of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe. Nice. Tale of Prince Prospero's futile attempts to avoid death, a task we all know is impossible. Prince didn't lose hope. I admire that. You shouldn't confuse hope with impossible longing. Death is inevitable for all of us, but you are still young. Ignore my melancholic ramblings. Won't bother you anymore, sir. Have a good afternoon. Okay. So a funny conversation to have, just sort of out of the blue. We all die in the end, don't we? Take the rose. Yes. Got a rose and a coin. It's a statue of Aphrodite, the goddess of love from Greek mythology. Interesting enough. Take the lilac. Yep, okay, so... Victor! Sorry I'm late. I love his stompy. Look at his stompy little walk. It's fun. Couldn't wait to see you again. Without you, this garden wouldn't be nearly as beautiful. Smooth. Always so flattering, Victor. Now I understand how you got my father to accept our marriage. I took him out to the garden and I said, without you, this garden would not be so beautiful. He was won over on the spot. Well, I'm a resourceful man. I would do anything to be by his side. Fortunately, I agreed. If not, you'd still be waiting for me to grant you our first dance. You would have missed my wonderful dance steps. I remind you that you stepped on my feet several times. Regardless, I'll never forget that night. I'll never forget how well you played the piano. By the way, how was today's class? I'm getting better. But you know, Mrs. Whitefield is very strict and I always finish late. Don't worry. With your beauty, a long wait is always rewarded. Victor, you're going to make me blush. Oh no, those were happy days for us. Life seemed to smile at us and I was lucky to have her by my side. But soon our world turned grey, literally. I should see if Alyssa as well. It's almost time for her medicine. Alright. Silent Hill 2. It's midnight. Nothing else to pick up. Dear Victor, I cried when I received your letter. Alyssa is like a sister to me. My heart is broken. I still remember those happy days we spent together when we were girls. She was always the most daring. We got into such trouble because of her. I never imagined that Alyssa could fall to such an illness. She was always so strong. Do not lose hope, Victor. Alyssa is a fighter, and I pray every night that she overcomes the disease. You must never give up. She needs you now more than ever. All my love, Leonore Ferrer. Okay. The letter down here. Dear Mr. Hartwell, I am afraid I have ill tidings. As you requested, I have contacted some of the greatest medical minds with the intention of finding a potential cure for your wife's affliction. It's meant to say affliction, I think. Unfortunately, I must inform you that, despite my best efforts, no effective treatment has been found. Your wife is not long for this world. Treasure the time you have. However, you should continue administering the medicine I prescribed for her daily, and increase the dosage if her pain persists or increases. Much to my regret, it is my duty to prepare you for the inevitable outcome. Dr. R. Abrahamson. So this is really feeling like a Silent Hill 2 transposed back a couple 100 years. Or something. I'm not actually sure what time this be set. Sort of feels Victorian. So like turn of the 19th century, turn of the 20th century rather. It's a dark and cold night. It is indeed. Sounds like a dark and cold night. Like that storm rumbling in the background. Alyssa is beautiful in this painting. I miss her smile. It's a dark and cold. Right. He's just going to say that about all the windows. We get to look at this sort of funky bust of this old man. No. Go through here. Is she like beckoning to me? Is that what that tiny little pixely animation? How are you, love? Have you been able to get any sleep? Hello, Victor. I barely slept at all. I'm so tired. I hate lying awake for hours, but no matter what, I cannot fall asleep. You need to rest as much as possible. The doctor said that it's important that you rest in order to recover your strength. The doctor and all of his horrible medicine. How long will I have to suffer his useless remedies? Alyssa, the doctor is doing his best to help you recover. Yes. Guess I should follow his advice. You'll see. Soon you'll get better. I'm going to prepare your medicine. Try to rest. Thanks for the hydrate. Yeah, the gravelly voice really took it out of me. Take Alyssa's medicine, yeah. Alyssa's medicine. The doctor told us to mix a few drops with hot water. Where am I going to find the hot water? Alyssa used to play the piano before falling ill. Just like Mary from Silent Hill, too. Guess we'll go to the kitchen and warm up some water. Big kitchen. This tableware was a gift on my wedding day and we've hardly used it. Old oven, this was when we bought the house. Take the firewood, yes. Hold it. Oh, wait, how do I equip? How do I interact with it? Maybe that's not what I need to do. Maybe I just need to boil the water. Use item. Yes, take the cup of hot water. Maria is hiding under the sink. We clomp our way back. Or do I need to mix the two? Combine with a cup of hot water with a few drops of medicine. And he just ditches the bottle on the floor, I guess. It's like that. That's it done. Just a few drops. That was all I needed. Go back. Trying to prepare you. Right. Would appreciate it if it just gave the medicine straight away, but that's okay. Here's your medicine. It's very hot. Take it slowly. Victor, if I die... Alyssa, please don't say that. I'm sorry. I just don't want to see you suffer because of me. ... I feel so helpless. Alyssa grows weaker with each passing day. Really lovely pixel art, I gotta say. They've done a really good job with that. I can't bear it. I can't lose her. I will do anything to save her life. I'll find a way to heal her. I swear it. Classic, horror love story. For months, a rumor circulated amongst the highest circles of society. There's a rumor of a strange count who lives far from civilization. Dracula, is it you? It is said that he's a master of forgotten sciences, that he possesses knowledge beyond comprehension. Stripped of all hope, I decided to contact him. To my surprise, he accepted our request and invited us to his mansion to study Alyssa's illness. Now our destiny is in the hands of a man we've never met, Count Edmund Steinrot. That's not foreboding at all, and a place only spoken of in whispers. Grav Hill Manor. Sir, we have arrived. Yeah, the pixel art is really cool. Look, like I like the detail of the water running off the carriage, and the horses are really well done too. Watch out, sir. The horses seem a bit nervous. Grav Hill Manor, it's so elegant. Yes, but it's strange that no one is here to greet us. Perhaps they didn't hear us coming because of the rain. Remain in the carriage while I go to fetch someone. It's a big door. Is that normal? This is a manor that screams, I'm not haunted. Welcome to Grav Hill, sir. I sincerely apologize for not coming to greet you. We didn't hear your carriage arrive through the storm. Ah, see, that's what I told everyone outside. Don't worry, I understand. I'll take care of Lady Harwell and escort her to your room. Your luggage will be brought up shortly. The Lord Count awaits you in his office. It's the first door on the left hallway. Well, that's nice. It's late. I don't want to disturb the suspiciously named Lord Steinrot. Oh, do not fret about that. The Count has a habit of working late into the night. I won't keep him waiting then. Okay. Lady Magda Steinrot. Interesting, yeah. Painted in a desolate wood by the looks of it. Classic Steinrot family. That's what they all do, isn't it? Welcome to Grav Hill. You must be Mr. Hartwell. It is a pleasure to meet you. Please, sir, call me Victor. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Victor. Excuse me for arriving up at this late hour. Due to my wife's illness, we've suffered some delays during the trip. No need to apologize. I'm well aware of the vital importance of your visit here. I'm eager to meet your wife and to begin studying her illness. But before I do, you're aware that my methods don't follow the strict rules governing conventional science and medicine. It's an interesting start to his pitch, isn't it? Yes, we have long since given up hope in conventional medicine. We're looking to conspiracy theories now. I've heard that you're in possession of great knowledge and that your methods work miracles. It's true that I've achieved a great many things, but I have performed no miracles. I merely unshackled myself from the bonds of convention and mediocrity. This fellow, he's been reading pages out of Georgie's book, I think. I've spent my life acquiring knowledge and learning the long-forgotten sciences. Now, Victor, answer me sincerely. How far are you willing to go to heal your wife? I would do anything. Excellent. Say no more. It's late. You should rest. Tomorrow will be a long day. I thank you very much for your hospitality and for the opportunity you offer us. Have a good night. Lord Steinrot, I don't know how anyone can say that with a straight face. Have a good night, Victor. Just let me, I'm just going to poke around your room. Collection of John Dee manuscripts. This seems cool. I love the turn it's just taken. Yeah. It's cool so far. I do think it, yeah, slightly suspect, but obviously he's a desperate man, so you know. You gotta forgive him for just accepting this at face value. You seem alright, Victor. I'm sure I forgot something in the carriage, but I don't remember what. I'm exhausted. Don't worry. I'll go find it right now. You have to rest. What could possibly go wrong? Don't move. Just stand there, staring at the wall. Hopefully the carriage guy hasn't left yet. No, he's left it. You're going to put the horses in the stable or something? To each their own, I suppose. Take the wedding ring, yes. How strange. Alyssa never takes off her ring. What could that mean? She fallen in love with Lord Steinrot? Already? The White Lady offering the chalice that cures all ills. That's a large and foreboding statue. She deserves everything. You did the right thing. Sorry? I don't understand you. Everything is ready in your chambers, sir. Your room is on the first floor. I hope everything is to your liking. Your wife awaits you. Okay. That was quick, by the way. That was pretty quick. Just moving everything up there. Well, I was outside just for a moment. Just another Steinrot, is it? Lord Hartmut, founder of the Steinrot House. Okay. That's strange. There are chains on the doors. That's like red flag like number 3. At this point, I'd be little alarm bells ringing in my head. It's not concerning at all. I think I'd rather sleep in the carriage. Let's sleep in the carriage. Yeah, like these paintings aren't normal paintings. Hi. Why do I feel like I've lost something forever? Calm down. I found your ring. I have it right here. You don't have it, Victor. You never had it. Okay. I don't. Alyssa. I don't understand. This is pretty cool. I like this. This sort of fading away of the walls and stuff. There's clearly still a wall here, unfortunately, but I do like this environmental change. Oh no, I'm dead. How can this be? My mind reels at the implications. Classic satanic stuff. Blood, I'm injured. Someone has bandaged the wound. What happened to me? Alyssa, I have to find her. Take the laudanum. In every game from this period. Have some laudanum. We've believed his lies all this time. How foolish we were. Maybe, is there any hope for us? Maybe there's something in the Count's office that can get us out of here. I bandage your wound as best I can, and left something on the table to ease the pain. I'll close the doors to keep you safe. Please don't leave this room. Who did we think this? We've believed his lies. It's written in shaky handwriting. You're right, it could be from Alyssa. How long have we been here? I don't remember anything. Didn't even get to get one night of good sleep. Piano is just like Alyssa's, but it's sturdy and run down, and there's a painting of like a ghoul from Amnesia Rebirth on the wall there. Take the ink, yes. Still confused and disoriented. I can use the ink to write down my thoughts. Maybe it will help me remember. You can save the game if you equip the ink and use it on this desk. We got 3 ink. We've got a... Is it meant to be a health meter there that indicates we're really damaged? If so, I really like that. We'll see if I equip this, I can... No. Yeah, I know that. I wanted to use the laudanum. Yeah, that's cool. I like this. You appear as a skeletal face. That's cool. Okay. So that's saved. How do I unequip it? Look at it. I don't actually know how to unequip it. Maybe it doesn't matter at this stage. What a strange picture. It gives me chills. But you weren't concerned about any of the other warning signs. That's fine. Take the lockpick, yes. Someone has broken the mirror. There are traces of blood between the shards. That cleaning guy... Cleaning's a hard job, but like... He's obviously not getting paid enough if he's just leaving the place in this kind of state. Something going on somewhere? Take the key. It's a wheelchair and a dirty one of that. Horror game developer's favorite item, the wheelchair. No, I want to look at the bed. Can I look at the bed? No. Looks like some kind of cobweb. There's a crack in the wall. Is that a girl on the other side? Hello, my name is Victor. Why are you crying? Are you alone? Be brave. I'll get out of here and help you, I promise. He's a nice guy. Drawer is closed, but the lock seems weak. I could try to force it. Yeah, right. Could use it to force a weak lock. So we'll see what's inside here. Use item, yes. And I assume, yeah, that uses up our lockpick. Take the half bottle of laudanum. Yep, that's fine. Okay. Okay. Right. Door is closed. That's the room we came out of. It's funny, yeah, the structure and setting of this game reminds me of a game that I made. It's not a public game or anything, but sort of just as a way to get acquainted with Unity, I made a Wii with a group, a small group of people. We all sort of collaborated to make a wee little isometric kind of horror game set in a mansion, with your kind of ultra cliched like voodoo zombies and that kind of thing. The door is open because I used the key, which was a lot of fun. I really need to get back into developing more. Need more time, right? Where's the time in the day? But yeah, that's something I'd really like to do. Is actually start making games like this. I mean, this is really awesome so far. Grr. Oh god, what is that creature? He's fine. What's he gonna do to me? Take the doll? Yes. He's not very fast. Do I give the... I assume I go and give the doll... My god, what the hell is going on? What kind of abomination was that? I think the game was expecting me to run away from it fast. Must be very careful. When Victor is near a monster, his physical and mental stamina will suffer and he can't run indefinitely to escape. Ah, so there is a run. I've been neglecting to use that. I really like his animations. Stompy feet and his nice sprint. Crack is too small, poor girl. If only I could help in some way. Yes, you can. Give her the doll. Found a doll. It's very beautiful. Is it yours? Seems like she just stopped crying. Okay. Didn't give me anything though. Not that I was expecting anything, but I assume. Do you think? Yeah. Right. Suspected as much. Someone has unlocked the door from the other side. That's nice of them. Just a test of my human kindness. Oh, the girl unlocked it. Wait! That girl looks familiar to me. What happened to Grav Hill? I can't remember anything. Must go to Lord Steinright's office. Listen, maybe there. Steinright, though, like... I think he'd change the family name if he didn't want to appear evil. Take the map. Yes. Oh, awesome. Right, so I'm here, and the green must indicate a safe room, I presume. And I can push the... Nice. I like that. Push the crates. Take the jewelry box, yeah. So, Lord Steinright's office will be downstairs. We'll just check in here first. It's like a funky doll on the floor there. Dead? Something, yeah, something interesting is gonna happen there. I'm sure psychologically we're gonna get that aspect of it coming through. Oh no, the Lord Hartmut. Someone has torn the picture. Poor Lord Hartmut. Remember the statue, the white lady. But now it's all different. What is that creature? Yeah, what is that creature indeed? It's the thing we saw before, right? And the thing that's actually, there's one just hanging there. Someone tied him up and threw him from the balcony. The statue is called the White Lady, because his face is just absolutely distraught. And now she's bleeding. Her throat is cut. It's a sinister picture. No, I can actually see this one. It's closed. There might be another way in. Okay. I'll explore what it's like for you. Another 10 minutes. Lady Edeltraud Steinrot. This picture is disturbing. What's that coming out of her chest? Similar kind of things happening. Like that one. Door is closed. Lift those knees. Take the half bottle of laudanum. Yes. Do they stack? No, they don't. Okay. Let's see where we can go into and sort of whether we get to pick up a weapon or not at some stage. Take the ink, yes. So I need to go back up and save in a minute. It's in here. I'm afraid I'll forget everything. Time passes differently in this place, and slowly my memory is blurring and fading. It's strange. There's something inside me that gives me the strength to continue. I will continue writing. Perhaps it will help keep my sanity. So it's like some sort of eldritch time loop thing. Take the tongs? Absolutely. Some kind of stuffed animal. Can use the ink to write down my thoughts. Save the game if you equip the ink. I'll come back and do that in just a second. Yeah, another half bottle of laudanum. That's not bad. Poor man, his body is covered in wounds. He must have bled to death. Take the saber. Yep. Is that going to be an actual weapon? Yeah. Looks like some spikes have appeared there, right? If I put the saber back. No. Do you think? Who reckons this is going to hurt me when I... Yeah, thought so. You died. No. Cool, okay. And then I'll spin me back to the guest stream, right? Poor Guybrush, yeah, his latest adventure not quite so funny as the previous ones. But yeah, I'm enjoying the game. It feels a wee bit layered and your sort of classic, you know, they've clearly looked at Silent Hill 2 and said I can do that, and but put it through sort of an isometric pixel art lens, and also transpose the setting. I think the change of setting and change of time is quite nice. And the pixel art is really gorgeous. They've done an absolutely amazing job with that. So I might keep playing this in streams to come. I'm not sure yet whether I will be streaming next week or not, just because I got some other things going on. But if not, I'll definitely be back to streaming the week after. So yeah, I'll see if I continue this. There's another couple of games on my list to play, such as what do I have? Yeah, Mother was the game was another indie horror game I was thinking of starting today, but I think it's slightly longer, and I think deserves to be sat down and sort of become deeply immersed in, and not sort of hop in and out of. Not that this game, of course, doesn't deserve the same treatment, because I am enjoying it so far, but I had zero expectations about that one, whereas Mother, I've sort of played 15 minutes of it already and was like, boy, people on stream would probably love this one. So hopefully, yeah, I'll get to play that one through pretty blind with on stream as well, and we can all sort of have a good time there. No, thanks, Frankaloons. Yeah, thanks for being there and for engaging in chat. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to see everyone here, and glad everyone's enjoying these streams. And I guess the streams, as well as a way to sort of hypothesize about horror and sort of add more games to my own repertoire of games that I can talk about, and sort of clear out my horrible backlog. As well as that, it's a really nice way to share a lot of smaller games with you guys that I think otherwise would go under the radar, because I'm always looking to see what small horror games that have been released, and trying to play through some more obscure stuff, and step away from the bigger budget stuff, because as we've seen with Amnesia Rebirth just then, it happens quite often to be not quite so inspiring, whereas something like this can sort of seize your attention in different ways. But yeah, we'll sort of see how it unfolds, see what I feel like playing next time. But yeah, thanks everyone for turning out to this admittedly much shorter stream, but at least I was able to finish Rebirth before I have to run away and do some other things. So yeah, thank you. I'll keep everyone posted on whether I'll be streaming or not. If I'm not, it should show up as cancelled on the Twitch schedule, and hopefully I'll update that by the day of stream or before the day of sort of thing. But otherwise, yeah, go well, stay safe. Yeah, enjoy playing through the Dark Descent, Yovios and Frankaloons. Whether it's your first time or whether you're revisiting it and finding something new from it. I think I should probably revisit it as well once I've dealt with my backlog a bit more. So that could be a fun one to try and stream at some point as well. Yeah, to my recollection, it's a wonderfully frightening, effective game, and it's a shame that Rebirth didn't turn out that way. No, thank you all, and I will catch you all later. Thank you.